Hi, welcome to the Commons. I'm Cooper Ray, and I'm here with Stephan, who's going to give us a fresh new look at Taste and See, Psalm 34. Stick with us. Curtis.
Hey.
Hey, man. It's great to see you, man.
I know, it is fun.
Yeah. So you've taken this psalm, Taste and See, Psalm 34, which, you know, I think anybody can probably think of a couple of settings to it already, and now you've taken it to a fresh new look. So,
oh man, this is a psalm that we use so much. I mean, it happens 3 times in 1 year, you know, and then it's a common psalm. It's like, you know, when in doubt, use Psalm 34, right?
Right.
You know, weddings, you name it. But I don't know. There's so many different versions of it. I wanted to take a completely new look at it. I like David Crowder's music. I like these really modern sounds and something different. And I just thought, you know, Taste and See is such a happy message. Like, taste and see this. Like, aren't you excited about this? You know, this is kind of cool. Like, come and see, taste and see, like the goodness of the Lord. So, you know, it didn't seem like a really slow kind of plodding arrangement really made sense for this.
So you took it up tempo.
So yeah, we turned the tempo up. But you know, the kind of interesting thing is like, it feels like it's faster, mostly because of the subdivisions that, you know, the pulse of the song.
Right.
But I give it a little bit more of a broad time. So that what you're actually singing is not all that fast. So you sing, taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, you know. And I wanted to emphasize especially the goodness of the Lord, you know.
Sure.
And it just kind of worked out that way. So.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like about this particular psalm is that it kind of, like you said, it deviates from the norm. It normally a Psalm 34, or and a lot of psalms really, if you think about it, are kind of done in this very casual and maybe even what we consider more prayerful way. And not that we can't be prayerful in our beat, and that's why I think it's great that you took it to this place. But it's just kind of it's more of it's got more energy to it than.
Well, not every song has to be a solemn psalm. You know, I mean, like so solemn and downtrodden. I mean, like some of these are really rejoicing psalms. You know, so why would we make something that is supposed to be rejoicing sound very plodding and heavy? And you know, so I try to just open up the rhythm a little bit, you know, so that you could play it really easily, really, like, you know, rhythmically speaking, it's not that difficult, but you have this just implication of like a double time feel that kind of gives it a little bit of a skip beat kind of thing, like, and it kind of just picks you up.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, it kind of creates this lift, and one of the things that with this song, and that it does have a little bit more energy and drive to it, then it creates an interesting dynamic when we talk about trying to create a fluidity to the liturgy. So we're coming right from the first reading, and now we've said the word of the Lord. And so speak a little bit about the dynamic of making sure that you're not like startling, you know, the congregation with the word of the Lord, and all of a sudden, dun dun dun, you know, we're coming into it. So how do you ease in, ease out, so that, as you know, we would say, like, it hands off well?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think in liturgy, there's 2 elements, right? The spoken word also shouldn't be always just downtrodden or anything like that. When you're reading, you know, sometimes if the reader is aware of what the music is like, this is why it's so important for liturgy teams to work together, you know, that the readers, you know, can sometimes elevate the first reading so that the psalm doesn't sound silly in comparison and all the other things. But even just trying to get into it, so you've got this silence after the first reading and people are meditating, you know, instead of like, you know, like doing something where it feels like it's way out of character. What you would do is maybe like take the first chords. This particular ones you could play, anybody could play the melody, you know, or you could play the melody in the piano and just play whole notes. Bum 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 da da dum da dum, and somebody could play the melody or not, or you know, they could just roll out the chord and someone could sing "Taste and see the goodness of the," and play whole notes behind it, And then as the song picks up, you know, as the congregation comes in, as the verse comes up, it can also, you know, raise the level of the instruments and stuff like that. I mean, the psalm shouldn't like overshadow any of the other parts. And it shouldn't be so long, so it's its own like song in production in the middle of all these readings, right?
Sometimes it turns out that
sometimes,
way.
yeah. So we try to, you know, and I think the other thing about this psalm is that it's nice and short and compact. So it makes its statement, it paints the text, and then, you know, you can bring it down very easily so that people can, you know, flow into the second reading as well.
So almost like what you were saying earlier, kind of the way you bring it into the psalm, then you can do the same thing coming out.
Yeah, ramping up and ramping down. You wouldn't want to have a big, you know,
ta-da!
Yeah, exactly, a big grand entrance or something like that.
Right.
Or a grand exit, either,
Right.
you know, you know, like really loud or big or anything like that. You know, all those kind of dramatic endings, you know, or anything like that.
That's right, Well, lots of energy, no drama, but let's listen to it and see how it plays out.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
Okay. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall be forever in my mouth. Let my soul glory in the Lord, and the lowly will hear and be glad. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us together extol God's name. I sought the Lord and He answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Look to Him that you might be radiant with joy, and your face is free from all shame. When the afflicted cried out, the Lord heard his cry, and He saved him from all his distress. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord.